Joining me now, State Senator Bryan King, Republican of Green Forest. Always good to visit with him. Senator, thanks for making time for us.
Hey, thanks. Glad for having me on.
We're talking prisons today. You got a few things to say about that. I want to hear more about your opposition to this state prison that is proposed to be built in Franklin County. Is your opposition to the cost? Is it opposition to the site, the location, the size, the logistics? What are your main arguments against this?
well, number one, I've always been, if you can't pay for it, it doesn't matter what government program. I mean, look at Learns here recently. They're pulling one-time money out of an account. I mean, that's fiscally responsible, and that's what physically, responsible way is the best way to tackle this issue. And one of the things I sent you some figures is it's all about the budget. And corrections has stayed 8% of the budget since I came in. It was 8% last time. Corrections, as I've advocated, needs to be 10% of the budget. And if you'd have looked at Bart Hester, who talks tough on crime, if corrections, if he had been putting his money where his mouth is, which he doesn't, that corrections would have been 10% of the budget since he came into office. Corrections would have 1.4 billion more dollars, and that's why the budget is so important about what we do and being financially responsible. The biggest thing is the mega prison. We need more beds. We got to do it economically in a smart way. The mega prison route, as we've seen, are all financial disasters. I mean, once you get in so much, you spend 50 million or 100 million, you're in for as much as they want to extort out of you. Let's just be honest. Look at Alabama, look at Utah. These things are mega financial disasters. We cannot staff 800 people out there. It wouldn't matter if it was Texas Instruments putting a location out there. We need to build smaller regional facilities. And be more economical, more flexible than to sink it all into one big financial disaster.
Well, let me ask this. Fundamentally, I'm hearing you say you don't think we need a new state prison, a big new state prison. You're saying that we should have smaller regional prisons.
That's correct. I mean, if you look at, we have 75 counties, 4 counties contribute half the inmates. We need to build the facilities in Benton, Washington County, where the growth is, and looking at the future. I mean, transportation of prisoners. You look at the inmate families, being able to see them. The more serious crimes, yeah, you can transport them somewhere else. Maybe to one of the other locations that's already established. But smaller regional facilities. Benton, Washington County, Sebastian County. The location is Franklin. If they don't get water out there, which now they're back to drilling for water, but if they have to go 1,200, 1,500 feet or whatever to get water, let's say they do get water. I mean, we're still not going to get the people to staff it. The road structure, I was just out there yesterday. Some of these roads have literally grass growing up in the roads. To handle the construction, you're going to have to build the new road structure in there. And the reality is staffing 800 people, it just won't work. Build the regional facilities in Sebastian County, Benton, Washington County, be more flexible, more economical in doing that.
One of the arguments too is that this will take a long time to build this prison. It could take 5 years or 6 years to build this prison. We obviously have an overpopulation, jail overpopulation problem today. I'm not so sure that building smaller regional facilities would get us into the place where we could incarcerate more people more quickly. This is a kind of a longer term problem, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it started, basically 14 years ago. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And that's why we got to look 5 years down the road. We should expand at Calico Rock. That has been 500 beds for a lot less money than they're talking about doing now. The governor and Porphyry and the Gilmores all wanted that shut down for this mega prison. And, that was a huge, colossal mistake. And this location, they decided this location within 3 weeks. I mean, that was just not enough time. Before you purchase any property, you should already know the water, everything before you even purchase the property. They didn't do that. It's just gross incompetence. So
You've obviously heard from plenty of your constituents because you take in a portion of Franklin County. Do any constituents in that area think that this is a viable or a good idea? Have you heard from anyone supportive of this?
well, most of them don't like getting railroaded. We shouldn't be railroading local people. I mean, that's the first thing, that's the big thing. And then some, might bring up the job aspect of it, but yet, they want to look at it. But I think anybody reasonable person looks at this situation and go, this is not viable. There's no way to make this financially work. even for anybody in the state of Arkansas.
I don't have to tell you because we've touched on it already that the money ball is already rolling. There was money, preliminary money that was set aside the previous legislative session before this one that we just finished. Some of that's already been spent on some kind of initial consultation and some early work to do some of the things to get this site either prepped or further considered. How are you going to stop? I mean, we're going to get to some point where you spend so much money. If you spend $75 million, it's almost fiscally irresponsible to not spend the rest of the money, isn't it, and eat 75 million.
Well, it's fiscally irresponsible to go down a path of $1 billion without any long-term plan or funding or plans. That's first off that people for the state of Arkansas should be extremely concerned about how they're not. And this is $1 billion payoff. I mean, you look at it. I wrote the column. 6 years down the road, the governor will be gone to D.C. or wherever. These consultants will have forked Arkansas for so much money. They're going to be gone, and we're going to be stuck with the mess. And that's why we need to be out here. There is nobody I go around the state and look at this situation and say, there's nothing that makes sense about it other than they just keep wanting to cash in. I mean, I wrote the column, the Gilmores, for example, with their consulting racket about how things, you send in the money and then next thing you know, they get hired. That's what's going on in here. This is $1 billion payoff, and people want that. If you look at smaller regional facilities, which are more economical, will better serve the people of Arkansas, they're not going to cash in on it. This whole thing is all about money behind the scenes.
What does a smaller regional facility look like compared to a large state prison that we're talking about?
Yeah, you look at it, a facility like 1,000 people, that would be much more economical to build, especially would be faster to build, would be up quicker, and so you look at like Benton and Washington County, they're not passing jail taxes where a lot of counties are. They need to be in the, have contribute to that because half the inmates come from 4 counties. So they need to be paying their share. And if they don't have a consequence in this, then it's going to be the rest of the state that gets forked out of this.
The governor has said, and I know some of the other legislative supporters of this prison project have said that it's going to be built in phases. So conceivably, you could get 1,000 beds built in Franklin County before having it could open before doing that. That would provide some relief, and that's not enough of a time frame for you.
No, I mean 6 years at the very minimum is what it's going to take up there, probably even longer. And the reality is, you're going to still have to get a workforce. You're going to have to go Utah, for example. They build a mega prison. It's 5 miles from the Salt Lake City airport. It's within a million population. They can't staff it. So you're going to have to go where the population is: Benton, Washington County, Sebastian County, these places where you can have already closer infrastructure. This place is way out in the country. Trust me. I drove the roads yesterday. Like I said, there's grass growing up in some of the roads that we're going to have to be used for this location. It's just really asinine to sit here and look and see this kind of situation that they have put us in.
You look at you mentioned 5 or 6 years before something could be built. Have you seen how long it takes to get a permit in Benton County these days or in Pulaski County? It might be 5 or 6 years there too for a smaller facility.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Sebastian County. I've been told they already have land that for a jail. You have Fort Chaffee there. It's already closer to the water and sewer issues rather than take it more out. So whatever situation you look at, and certainly, hey, listen, when government wants to do something, they can expedite things. I mean, it's like so. Regardless of where you go, I mean, look right now. They started this process. We're closing in on a year, and look at how little has been done. So if you want to talk time frame, the gross negligence that they caused in this location. Don't talk about the time. And if we want to talk about the time, what about Bart Hester underfunding corrections at 8% of the budget instead of 10%? That's got us in this mess.
Well, I prefer to not take shots at someone that's not here to defend themselves, but I get your
Well,
point.
hey, listen, if you want to have him and me on at the same time, I'd love to do that. If
Fine.
Bart Hester wants or give Ben Gilmore, I mean, I know Ben doesn't have a real job. If they want to debate sometime, that'd be great with me. So,
All right. All right. Senator Bryan King, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us.
all right, thanks, Roland.